Dun, 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 dun. All right, so rank these 4 cheating scandals. Right, we got the steroid era. We have the Black Sox. We have
no, it's not even cheating.
Throwing or
it's not.
Okay, so rank
cheating.
these.
Cheating is you trying to win, is it not? Or
okay, rank these baseball scandals in.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Awfulness.
Sure.
The Black Sox, the Astros, the steroid era.
The worst.
And Pete Rose.
Pete Rose. Okay, Pete Rose is definitely 4 out of 4.
Agreed.
The worst one by far is the throwing the World Series.
Fair, sure, yeah.
I think that's the worst one by far. It's pretty sure.
The Astros are a very close second. And I know I'm a Red Sox fan, so the steroids are low on my list.
I disagree with that. But
I know you're a big steroid guy. You're not a fan
I'm
of
very
steroids.
much against the steroids. That is the worst.
It's not that I condone them. It's just that an individual doing something to improve their own performance, to me, is not as egregious as like systematic cheating, like across an entire organization with like videographers on board and like coaching staff and like top down organization wide. That to me is worse for the sport as a whole.
I see that. I see that argument because the steroids is the individual, sin, not like this systemic like issue within the team. I get that argument, but I think steroids overall help you more than knowing the pitch or knowing the sign, because if teams they're so privy to it, and like they know like this. I mean, it's kind of obvious when you. I
wonder if pitchers,
especially if you are the pitcher, like how do they know what I'm throwing?
Would
you know they're stealing your signs somehow? Change the signs. That's all you have to do. With steroids, there's nothing you can do. It's just in their body, and they're gonna hit this like out of the park.
Sure.
Like. With the sign stealing, you could counter this. Like, you could stop.
You could change your signs, but again, if they have a camera looking at every single sign, sooner or later they're going to decode them. I mean, you can only put so many signs down.
I don't think that's true. There's so many things you could do.
You could change them every inning. You could change them every batter.
You could change them every inning.
You could. But now they have rules that limit mound visits, so you can't even go out and like talk to your pitcher and like.
You got to do it in between innings.
Yeah,
you think they're going to decode your signs within 3 batters? Maybe, I guess. It is bad. I'm not saying it's not bad. I do think it's like pretty crazy because of the technology they're using, like that's what you get with instant replay. Manfred.
Listen, Giancarlo would have hit 80 home runs if he knew it was coming.
Giancarlo has the biggest head I've ever seen, like outside of Barry Bonds.
Is he juicing?
No, probably not. I don't know.
Would you rather, as a pitcher...
I'm not going to accuse him of that.
Would you, as a pitcher, rather face Jose Altuve with him knowing every single pitch that's coming, or Barry Bonds in his prime?
It's Altuve.
Who would you rather pitch to?
Altuve.
See, I don't know if I agree. Granted, Barry Bonds got intentionally walked 200 times in a season, so no one wanted to pitch to him.
Barry Bonds got intentionally walked with the bases loaded one time.
They were minimizing the damage. They were stopping the bleeding. That honestly might have worked out for them.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Barry Bonds was like a guaranteed.
It wasn't
fucking
crazy.
Hit.
This dude would walk 200 times in a season.
That's unprecedented.
Yeah.
I wonder how many intentional walks Mike Trout has in his career. He's played what, 8 seasons?
Probably
There's no way he has 200.
A decent amount though. No, like.
Total.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Total.
Intentional walks. Okay.
Yeah.
No, he would walk 200 times a season, but I don't know how many of them.
He got intentionally walked over 100 times in a season.
Like some crazy shit. Yeah, like it's insane.
The year he hit 70 something or other.
Dude, just take that part away. Just walking 200 times is
Think about how many at bats you took away from him.
Your on base percentage is like fucking 9,000. You know.
How many home runs could he have hit if you give him 100 more plate appearances?
See, like the thing about Bonds with me is, I think that if he came out and was like. Told the truth, and he said, I started using steroids in 2001 because I didn't want to be left behind McGuire and Sosa. If he just comes out and says that's when I started, people would look at the first half of his career up to the steroids and put him in the Hall of Fame
regardless.
He would have been in the Hall of Fame if he retired the day before, because I think that's when he started using.
You could argue he's a better player before.
You could argue maybe later 90s he started. No, I don't think you can. No,
in terms
dude,
of like
no.
an all-around baseball player.
Sure, but he was better.
I mean, would you rather a guy who's
steroids.
going to hit 35 home runs and steal 40 bases,
The guy walked,
or the guy who's going to have
times.
140 RBIs and hit 70 home runs,
walk
but
200
steal
times.
3 bases
and walk 200 times.
Okay, yeah, I think I want that guy. You're right. Fair enough.
He's automatically on base, and he's probably going to hit a home run.
But in terms of like purity in the sport and just being like an all-around 5-tool baseball player, the first couple seasons of Barry Bonds' career like are unprecedented. Like Ken Griffey Jr., Willie Mays-esque 5 tools, just like Trout.
Like I said, I think people would be like, you know what? If you take the steroids away, even if you took away all the numbers, he's a Hall of Famer still. Then put him in. I could agree with that. I see them differently because it does depend on when he started. Because people laugh it off. Oh, it's just like, it's just pills or whatever, and it doesn't really matter. Everybody was doing it. No, they weren't. What about the people who weren't doing it?
True.
And they were still amazing. Like Greg Maddux, that guy thrived in the steroid era.
Mm-hmm.
Like Roger Clemens thrived in the steroid era by doing them.
True. That's true. He came back at 40 years old, just like pumping 98.
Dude, that guy, that guy came into the league like 8 years before I was born, and then like was pitching for the Astros when I was like 14.
The Rocket.
Him and Pettit were both on the Astros when the White Sox beat him.
But you know what? No one remembers that Pettit used. You know why?
Because he told the truth.
He told the truth.
A-Rod eventually had to tell the truth.
Yes.
But I almost kind of go soft on A-Rod because he served a 200-game suspension.
Sure. But serving a suspension doesn't...
It doesn't, but it confirms it to me that he did it.
He's one of the most egregious steroid users.
Oh yeah, I think A-Rod should never be in the Hall of Fame. No. I think his whole career is on steroids. I think he was using steroids his whole career.
To me personally,
until like near the end, probably.
Barry Bonds not being in the Hall of Fame is a travesty because he's the best player of the sport ever, and the best to ever do it should be in the Hall of Fame. Steroids or not, Barry Bonds is the greatest baseball player who ever lived, in my opinion. And he deserves to be there. It's just silly. Pete Rose deserves to fucking be there. He bet on his team. That's the most big dick thing I've ever heard.
I think Pete Rose deserves it more than Barry Bonds.
Definitely. I agree with that, too.
Because he has 4,200 hits.
What Pete Rose didn't impact the outcome of any game.
He bet on his own team as far as...
To win, not to lose.
Yeah, to win. And
it's a sign of confidence.
He still shouldn't do it. But
sure, of course.
It's not that bad. Like him being banned for life is actually kind of crazy when you think.
You don't think that like to some extent, some coach in some level, whether it's like a hitting coach or this coach, like texts one of his buddies and it's like, "Yo, I bet you $50 we're gonna beat fucking Aroldis Chapman and the Yankees this weekend." Like, is that like the same as people? You don't like who knows? Maybe
I don't know the numbers. I think he was like doing it on a big level. I would assume it wasn't
big
like,
money.
It wasn't like a friendly bet.
Yes, of course. But
yeah,
what he did wasn't that bad.
No,
all things considered.
I don't think it was.
All things considered,
I don't think it was. I think the people don't like him like already.
Yeah,
I think
and that's why Curt Schilling won't get in, which is stupid.
If Mike Mussina's in the Hall of Fame and Curt Schilling's like automatically in the Hall of Fame. Like, how is Mike Mussina in the Hall of Fame?
Curt Schilling...
That's insane to me. Mike Mussina.
You take away everything Curt Schilling did in Boston, and he's still a fringe Hall of Fame guy.
I think if you took all the Boston stuff away, I don't think he's in the Hall of Fame.
Well, because you take away the hardware. But he was a better pitcher before he got to Boston.
Well, he had the hardware with Arizona as well.
True.
Even if he had... see, that's what it is. He had... what he didn't win the... He won the World Series MVP, co-MVP with Randy Johnson for the Diamondbacks against the Yankees. They both went 2-0 in the series, I'm pretty sure. Like, something like
filthy.
They won every game in the series, so they gave the MVP to both of them. It's not something that happens very often, but it was pretty cool. And then he obviously bloody sock and all that, and then he had 220 wins.
It's hard to beat that.
If you took the playoff runs away, he's not in the Hall of Fame.
Sure. I more so, my point was more that you could argue that he was probably a better pitcher before he got to Boston. His best seasons were probably in Philly and Arizona.
Yeah, that Arizona run with Randy Johnson was the best because when I was a kid, I was a Cardinals fan, but I hated the Yankees just because like we live in the Northeast and there's a lot of Yankee fans.
Fucking terrible.
And there's a lot of you too.
There's a lot of me. There's a lot of
Boston Red Sox fans.
Yep, big time.
So when I was a kid, the Red Sox were like a team I had a soft spot for because they would always lose in like horrific fashion. And then what was it? So 2001, back to what I was saying. The Diamondbacks Yankees, I was rooting so hard for the Diamondbacks. Like my little league team was the Diamondbacks too, so I had like a Diamondbacks hat and dude, Randy Johnson and Kurt Schilling. And Luis Gonzalez, big steroid guy, hitting a bloop single off of Mariano Rivera.
I'll tell you what, I have
2 runs in the bottom of the 9th to win Game 7.
I have an atrocious memory. I forget so much shit. That's why, like, you always make fun of me when it comes to, like, history of sport, because I just will forget things.
Yeah.
Like, that Luis Gonzalez hit is, like, burned into my memory. Like, I was so happy. I was so happy. I was like, oh, these scumbags aren't going to do it. They're not going to win.
That was pretty amazing.
It was awesome.
That was pretty
Against
great.
Mariano, it was fantastic.
And they were down 1, and they scored 2 off of Mariano. Like, that's crazy.
It doesn't happen.
It's like the only time he's ever done that in the playoffs, probably ever, you know? Ever blown a save and then lost the game as well. I would have to look at his numbers, but I'm pretty sure that's probably the only time.
He was pretty damn unhittable for most of his career.
Well, yeah,
which
he's
like
probably like the best pitcher of all time, like relief pitcher for sure.
It's hard. Well,
But,
definitely
like,
relief
you could
pitcher.
even argue pitcher just because like he legitimately like did not give up runs. He would just come in and throw 2 pitches and fuck you up.
It's just hard to argue the value of that versus like a guy who's going to give you 200 innings a year. But I understand your point. He is easily a top 10 pitcher ever. That's like undisputed.
Best at his position.
Easily.
Baseball history, I'll say that.
100%.
What about that?